How to be Icelandic in 15 easy steps. We fell in love with Iceland on our recent July visit. The landscape is stunningly beautiful in the summer, with its Icelandic horses roaming wild, rocky fjords, thermal spas, and colorful houses. Would I live there? Nope, not a chance. A month of warmish sunshine in the year would not cut it for me. I would spiral into seasonal affective disorder faster than you can say Seyðisfjörður. I noticed, though, that we kept being served by American waiters in Iceland. Clearly, some people really did immigrate to Iceland in search of Nordic lovers and socialist utopia. So here are some tips on how to be Icelandic if you are thinking of making the big move. Even if you're not, they will serve you well when you are visiting the country. I would suggest that you start off with an overview of what to expect with a fabulous comedy show, How to be Icelandic in 60 Minutes at the Harpa Concert Hall in Reykjavik. A one-man comedy with Bjarni Hooker Porson, he relies on physical comedy, which is perfect for children, and multimedia for laughs. Now that you've got the overview, let's go with the lessons. Number 1, learn the language. I've heard repeatedly that Icelandic is once considered one of the hardest languages in the world to learn, thanks to its convoluted vocabulary and grammar. So good luck to you. Be practical with a dash of romance. You need to believe in fairies, trolls, and elves. According to a University of Iceland survey, over 80% of Icelanders refuse to deny the existence of magical creatures. But only less than 10% were prepared to go out on a limb and say magical creatures definitely existed. So everyone else was hedging their bets. Number 3, be respectful of nature. At any time, Mother Nature can go from being pretty to one mean mofo. People in Iceland are aware of this thin line between normal life and catastrophe. For example, a volcano can erupt at any time. Iceland has 35 active volcanoes, and 10 of these volcanoes are classified as very active. Mount Hekla, Iceland's most infamous volcano, erupts on average once a century. Number 4, learn to love and to ride the Icelandic horse. We saw beautiful Icelandic horses everywhere. Not surprising when you consider there are 90,000 horses in a country with a human population of 350,000. Many Icelanders still ride their horses for pleasure. Tip number 5, get used to thermal pools. Swimming in geothermal pools is a big part of Icelandic culture. On an island with so much water, both on the island itself and surrounding it, swimming lessons are a compulsory part of the school curriculum. Oh yeah, you have to bathe without bathing suits before getting into the pools though. It's a non-negotiable part of local culture and is strictly enforced. No one wants to swim in your dirty water. Tip number 6, appreciate Icelandic wrestling, or glima. Wits have described Icelandic wrestling as sumo wrestling for skinny men. Glima is the national sport of Iceland, so you're going to have to learn to love it. The word glima comes from Old Norse and means flash, which technically is what you are supposed to do to your opponent. You throw him so fast to the ground he has no idea what happened. Tip number 7, be prepared to drink. A lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. The Icelanders really like their alcohol. You've got to appreciate any country that has Beer Day, which falls on March 1st every year, which celebrates the end of prohibition on the brewing of beer in 1989. They love their beer so much that they even have a beer school run by one of their local breweries. For a long time, it was socially acceptable for Icelandic men to drink themselves into oblivion and get into fights. Tip number 8, embrace new Christmas traditions. At Christmas, instead of Santa Claus, Icelanders have Grilla, an ogress with 13 children called the Yule Lads. Every Christmas, Gorilla goes searching for children who have misbehaved to be boiled alive. Somewhat less gruesome, the Yule Boys leave sweets and candy every night starting 13 nights before Christmas. And then there is the Christmas cat. If you don't get new clothes at Christmas, the Christmas cat will eat you. Tip number 9, be an adventurous eater. Be prepared to eat random things. Iceland definitely has what we would consider some disgusting foods. Everything from dried fish to sheep's heads to soured ram's testicles. On the other hand, we have had some fabulous meals in Iceland. Reykjavik is quite the foodie destination with quite a few posh restaurants serving up new Nordic cuisine. There also is the world-famous hot dogs at the Bojaren stand at the Reykjavik waterfront. Apparently 70% of Icelanders have eaten a hot dog at the Bojaren stand. Its reputation for premier hot dog quality was sealed by a visit from former US President Bill Clinton right after he had open heart surgery. Be prepared to like licorice. Icelanders seem to have an obsession with licorice. You find it everywhere, mixed with chocolate, added to salt, mixed with alcohol, etc. It's hard-pressed to find a sweet in the candy aisle that doesn't have licorice. Believe me, I tried. Tip number 11, don't beat around the bush. Icelanders are very direct in their speech. Porson, the comedian, described it as being rude. I don't think it's necessarily rude, but just very direct. It's pretty much the opposite of some countries that you know. For example, England, where things are couched in a certain way so you don't even know what people actually mean. Tip number 12, get used to hipsters. When I was in Reykjavik, I had the odd feeling that I could be in a college town in the Pacific Northwest of the US. Practically every man had a luxuriant beard. Everyone drank gourmet coffee. A lot of the people in the city did not actually seem older than 30. So be prepared to show up on Icelandic shores with an open mind and to like artisanal food, vintage clothes, and everything liberal. Get used to extremes in weather and light. I have never before been in a country where I have had to put on the air conditioning and the heat in the same day. The weather is extremely changeable. In terms of light, the midnight sun in July was wonderful. The days felt like they lasted forever. On the other hand, in winter, there is very little or no sun. I bet the nights feel like they last forever too. Number 14. Find the inner poet in your battle-scarred soul. All Icelanders know the Icelandic sagas. These are tales of the old days, very, very long. Apparently they didn't do a good job editing the stories. They contain lots of family genealogy and are full of violence and revenge. Someone did someone wrong and no one forgives or forgets. Number 15. Have an appreciation for music and the arts. Apparently 60% of Icelanders have taken in a concert at the Harpa Concert Hall in Reykjavik. It's a beautiful building architecturally and we really enjoyed our visit there. Alternatively, check out the fabulous street art on the streets of Reykjavik. The art galleries are also full of talent. So that's it. Think you can do all of the above? Iceland may be the perfect country for you. You can thank me later, but please, no Icelandic food baskets.